I didn't hear the city at first. I heard my breathing, slow and careful, counting to 4 like the therapist video taught me. In, 1, 2, 3, 4, out. 1, 2, 3, 4. I stared at the resignation email on my laptop screen as if it were a cliff edge. All I had to do was press send. Freedom should be lighter than this, I thought. Why does it feel so heavy? I whispered it like a prayer. I deserve peace. Then I pressed send. For a second, I thought the apartment might exhale with me. No more manager pinging me at midnight. No more polite smiles masking casual disrespect. No more pretending the workload was challenging when it was cruel. My chest loosened, and something unclenched that had been clenched for years. My phone buzzed once, then again. I reached without looking habit, not curiosity, and turned it over. A text from Jake. You'll cover my share of rent, right? That was it. No, hey, how are you? No, congrats on finally leaving that nightmare. Just a demand. That was the moment I realized family can betray you more quietly than anyone else. I stared at the screen longer than I should have. It's strange how a single line can erase entire months of suffering. All I could see was a couch with Jake's hoodie on it and dirty dishes he swore he'd wash tomorrow. I put the phone face down again. I tried to return to relief, but it had slipped away. The phone buzzed again. Hello? You saw it? I picked it up and typed erased, typed again. What was I supposed to say? That I just quit my job and maybe he could be kind for a single day? That my hands were shaking and I needed an hour to let the quiet settle in. The truth is, I had been responsible so long I had forgotten how to be ordinary. Responsible meant taking double shifts when Dad got sick. Responsible meant smiling at Thanksgiving when Mom said, "You know your brother's just finding his path." Responsible meant paying the internet bill because he needed it for applications and forgiving him when the only thing he applied for was new followers. My first day of freedom, and my heart felt like a clenched fist. Another text. You're home all day anyway. You can figure it out. It's just this month. Home all day. I smiled without humor. I typed, Jake, I just left my job. I need a minute to plan. He replied fast, not my problem. You're the responsible one. That word again. I wanted to be angry, but the feeling that came wasn't fire. It was a long, quiet ache. The kind that arrives when you realize a pattern is not an accident. It's a design. I had been designing my life around Jake's comfort for so long that I mistook discomfort for duty. My laptop pinged. Your resignation has been received, the auto reply said. Maybe today was about lines. The phone buzzed again. Rent's due in 3 days. Don't make it weird. I almost laughed. Don't make it weird. Jake sets the beat, and I keep time. I open the window. The street below was alive. Somewhere somebody was laughing. Somewhere, a band was rehearsing, and a trumpet kept missing the same note. I closed my eyes and asked myself, if I didn't feel responsible for everyone else, what would I do right now? A careless answer lifted up, nothing. I sit here and do nothing. It felt dangerous and holy at the same time. My phone rang again. I let it ring out. He texted instead. Pick up. I typed. I can't talk right now. A lie, yes, but a gentle one. He responded, wow, so you're really going to do this to me? I turned the phone over again and left his face down. I wrote 2 columns in my notebook, what I owe, what I don't owe. On the left, kindness, honesty, my share of rent. On the right, his excuses, his parties, his emergencies. I added one last line under what I don't owe, my peace. Something unlocked when I wrote it. Not a door, more like a window that had been painted shut. I didn't text him back. Instead, I poured water with lemon and turned on the TV. A nature documentary was playing. The river doesn't argue, the narrator said. It simply finds another path. I smiled. I typed another message but didn't send it. I'm not leaving you with anything that belongs to me. Instead, I turned off the TV and looked around. The air felt different, clearer. I didn't know what would happen in 3 days, but I knew this. Today, I pressed send twice. Once to leave what hurt me. Once to ask for what I needed. Sometimes I wonder when Jake and I stopped being a team. Maybe we never were. We grew up in a small town, dad a mechanic, mom a nurse. Jake was the golden child, I was the fixer. He told jokes that broke tension. I covered for his mistakes. In college, he dropped out after a year to chase ideas that never lasted. Every time he failed, I helped. When I got my first job, he followed me to the city. I thought it was fate. It turned out to be dependency disguised as love. The first months were fine, but slowly, patterns reappeared. Unpaid bills, empty promises. Relax, sis, he'd say. You're making enough for both of us anyway. I remember a night the electricity cut off because he forgot to pay. He shrugged and ordered pizza. I borrowed from savings. He posted a picture of the pizza with the caption, "Living the good life." I told myself patience would fix it. It didn't. At work, I was dependable. At home, the same. When Mom asked about Jake, I said, "He's figuring things out." Jake brought flowers once, washed dishes once, promised to pay next week. But those were matches, not logs. When I got promoted, my life became an endless shift. He said, "Don't worry, I'll handle dinner." He meant takeout on my card. One night, I came home soaked from rain, and the rent envelope I left was empty. I sat on the floor and cried quietly, counting how many times I said, "It's okay." When I ran out of fingers, I realized I'd run out of reasons. I didn't stop loving my brother. Love doesn't vanish, it changes form. But trust corrodes quietly until one day you touch it, and it flakes away. So when his text came after I quit, it wasn't a new betrayal, it was the echo of every old one. That's the thing about patterns, they look permanent until you decide to draw something else over them. For a day and a half, Jake was quiet. The third morning he knocked. "Hey sis. We need to talk." He pushed past me before I answered. He talked fast, rent, landlord, some mix-up. I was gonna, but you didn't. The same song, I listened. "I told you I can't cover your half," I said quietly. He laughed. "Come on, you always handle this." "You're the responsible one," I said. "I'm done being responsible for you." His smile faded. "Fine, don't help. Just don't act like I'm the bad guy." He left, door slamming behind him. The landlord called the next morning. "Your brother said you were handling the rent." "I'll pay my half," I said. And only my half. I wired the money and told myself it was the last time. That evening, Jake threw a party. Music thumped through the walls. I stood in the hallway, headphones with no music. Someone spilled beer on the rug. Jake laughed. "When chaos ends, I fix what's left." "You should have joined us," he said. I turned off the tap. "Jake, what exactly do you think I am to you?" "My sister," he said. "No," I said. "Your plan B." He left without replying. Days passed. Silence filled the apartment like fog. I started stacking my documents, folding a few clothes. He noticed. "Why are you packing?" "I'm tidying. You wouldn't actually leave." I didn't answer. That night, I dreamed of the river carrying pieces of our apartment away. Jake stood on the bank shouting, but the current was too loud. I woke before dawn, heart steady. The conflict wasn't between me and him anymore, it was between who I was and who I was becoming. The morning I broke wasn't loud, just quiet. Jake's door was closed, his alarm buzzing. I stared at the red circle on the rent notice, 2 days left. I poured stale coffee. He came out, phone in hand. "So, did you send the rent?" "No, I told you, I'm not covering your half." He laughed nervously. "You're serious about that little speech." "Not a speech," I said. "A boundary." He rolled his eyes. "God, you sound like one of those motivational podcasts. Then maybe you should start listening to one." He slammed the bowl down. "You think you're better than me? You quit your job. You're just as lost." I smiled. "You're right. But I'm lost on my own terms, he shouted. You can't just leave, we're family. Exactly, I said. That's why I stayed this long. I packed my bag while he stood frozen. You'll come back. You always do. Not this time. I walked out. The air was cold, clean, indifferent. I didn't have a plan, but I had quiet courage. I texted Mom, I'm taking a few days off. Need to clear my head. She replied, proud of you, sweetheart. I smiled. I stepped onto a bus, the city sliding past. I saw our apartment shrink in the mirror. For the first time in years, I wasn't the fixer. I was just me. Sometimes the breaking point isn't when everything falls apart. It's when you finally stop holding it together. When I left, I didn't know where I was going. Just that away was the only direction that made sense. I found a small inn, room 12. It smelled of dust and detergent. Peace doesn't announce itself. It creeps in after the noise leaves. I turned off my phone. I wrote in my notebook, why did I stay so long? Because guilt wears disguises. Sometimes it looks like loyalty. Sometimes it sounds like love. I wrote one last line. Tomorrow I start taking care of me. The next morning, 12 missed calls. Oh, Jake. The last message, you can't just disappear. I typed a reply and deleted it. Some things are better left unsaid. I called Mom. He's upset, she said. You've done enough, honey. Sometimes the best help is distance. Her words landed like a key turning in a lock. I thanked her. By noon, I had a plan: find a small place, maybe a roommate, maybe just quiet walls. I replied to a recruiter's old email. I'm available. Send. Another click, another line crossed. That evening, I walked by the river. The river doesn't argue, I whispered. It finds another path. I dropped a pebble into the water. The ripples faded quietly until the surface was still again. That's what healing looks like. Not fireworks, just calm. Revenge is a strange word. It sounds loud, but real revenge is quiet. I didn't block Jake. I just disappeared from his story. That silence became my answer. 3 days later, I found a small studio. It wasn't much, but it was mine. Silence wasn't loneliness. It was recovery. I unpacked, ate noodles on the floor, scrolled job offers, and felt free. His messages came in bursts: guilt, sarcasm, apology, repeat. I didn't reply. With every unread message, I felt lighter. Sometimes silence isn't punishment, it's protection. I wrote Jake a letter I never sent. I'm not angry anymore. I just can't be your rescuer. I hope someday you learn that love doesn't mean taking turns breaking each other. When I finished, I felt something lift. I put it in a box labeled unsent. Days turned into weeks. I got a new job, smaller salary, kinder people. I biked to work, laughed more, felt free. My revenge wasn't fire or fury. It was peace he couldn't interrupt. Mom texted one day. Jake moved back home. He's been quiet. I replied, I hope he's okay. That's the thing about peace, it doesn't erase compassion, it just removes control. I got another message. I'm sorry. I didn't realize how much you did. I'm trying to change. I didn't reply. Not out of pride, but peace. Sometimes the best response is to let the echo fade on its own. 3 months passed. Quiet became my favorite answer. Silence meant ownership of my time, my choices, my headspace. Mom called. Jake's working now, she said. He asks about you. What do you tell him? That you're doing fine. And that he should be too. One night, he sent a voice note. Hey, I found a job. I wanted to say thanks. And sorry. I listened once, then deleted it. Some apologies you accept in silence. Healing isn't a mountain. It's a garden you water every day. One weekend I saw him at the market. He looked different, tired but softer. He smiled. I smiled back. No words, no anger, just peace. I went home and wrote, love without boundaries becomes obligation. Peace without guilt is freedom. I wrote a letter to myself. You did it. You chose yourself without losing your heart. Keep going. One morning Jake showed up at my door. He looked smaller, not in size but in pride. Hey, he said. Hey, he handed me an envelope. Inside were photos, an old keychain and a note. I'm trying to be better. Thanks for walking away, it helped me see myself. We didn't hug, we didn't need to. Some forgiveness happens quietly, standing at the doorway between past and present. I used to think forgiveness was a gift for others. Now I know it sets you free first. Jake wasn't the villain. He was the mirror I needed. Would I change anything? Maybe not. Because every tear was carving space for this piece to live. Walking away isn't cruelty, it's clarity. Silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Peace isn't found, it's built, one decision at a time. Sometimes, the kindest thing you can do for someone is stop letting them use your strength to avoid their own lessons. I don't know where life will take me next, but I'll take this version of me. The one who knows her worth and forgives without forgetting herself. I dropped a single flower into the river and watched it drift away. Maybe that asks what peace really is, letting things flow and trusting that whatever is meant for you will find you again gently. I quit. My brother texted, "You'll cover my share of rent." I answered, "Keep the apartment." But what I really meant was, keep the past. I'm moving forward. Sometimes peace is the greatest revenge.